So, our first presenter, let's welcome Jamie with Ocala Equine Healing.
Thank you so much, Joe. I'm going to take a sip of water. Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, thank you. So, like Joe said, my name is Jamie. My last name is McGonagill, and I am the founder and owner of Ocala Equine Healing. First, I just want to say that normally I work with horse trainers in their barns, and everyone's dressed kind of like a homeless person, and we all have straw in our hair, and so you all look very nice. Just wanted to let you know that today, in case you were wondering. You look a lot better than most horse trainers. So good morning. So first I'll explain a little bit about who I am, and then I'll explain a little bit about what I do, because it's a little bit out there, and then I'll explain a little bit about who I do it for. So first, like I said, my name is Jamie McGonagill. I'm an 8th generation cattle rancher. I came from a long, long line of cattle ranchers, and I grew up off and on my grandparents' 1,800-acre cattle ranch down outside Kissimmee, and they worked cattle with horses. And so I grew up around horses, was very comfortable around horses, and in my early years started to notice that there were horses and humans, but also horses, with problems that nobody seemed to know how to solve. And vets could do a certain amount, and trainers could do a certain amount, and then there was this kind of gap. So I filed that away in my head, and then grew up, and I got my undergraduate degree at New York University in a completely different field of study. But it was always kind of nagging at me that there were root causes of problems that nobody was going after. And then after I graduated college, I started to look for ways that I could make a positive difference in the world. And I started studying with the Lightworkers Healing Method, which is an intensive energy healing modality. And I did their core curriculum program, and then I did their intensive 3-year residential training program. And while I was in the residential training program, I started to realize that working with humans wasn't really what was jazzing me, and what I was interested in is these horses. And so I started working on studying them and studying how we could help them better. And then after I completed my 3-year residential training program, which is kind of like a PhD program for energy healing, I did my primary practicum down in the Venice-Englewood area with rescue horses, and then I came to Marion County and I did my secondary healing practicum here with equine athletes. And then I founded my practice in August 2017 by driving up to people's farms, walking into their barns and saying, "Hello, my name is Jamie McGonagill. I'm an equine energy healer. Do you have any horses with problems?" And if they didn't laugh at me right away, I knew there was a shot. And so that's how I came to found my practice, and since August 2017 I've been working here in the Marion County area. So that's how I came to be here, and now I'm going to explain a little bit about what I do, because it's very unlike a lot of what's being offered, and so I like to explain it in kind of depth. Show of hands, who here is familiar with the electromagnetic field that runs through the body, the energy body? Awesome. I like this room. So you're all already head and shoulders ahead of most people that I meet when I meet them, just so you know. So that's great. For everybody who didn't raise your hand, a very quick explanation. If you're in a dark room or your eyes are closed and you reach out your hand and there's, say, a podium there, and you're about to touch the podium, and right before you touch the podium you can kind of feel this feeling in your fingertips, and then you touch the podium. What you're feeling is the electromagnetic field that runs through your body and around your body hitting that podium. So that's the quick explanation. And what I'm trained to do, and I go through a lot of continuing education to be able to do better, is I'm trained to soften my own energy body and merge in with the horse's energy body. By doing this process, it becomes more and more possible for me to feel how it feels to be in the horse's physical body, their emotional body, their mental body. Because that electromagnetic field runs through all the aspects of their experience of sentience, it's possible for me to really get inside of there. And as a vet, it's not really possible to do that. And as a trainer, it's not really possible to do that. And so this is a very unusual skill set. And then once I'm inside the horse's energy body, we can find the blockages that are underneath their problems. It doesn't matter if it's a physical problem, a behavioral problem, an emotional problem, a training problem. There's something under there keeping that horse from healing, or that horse would have healed already, and we wouldn't be having this conversation. So I'm trained surgically to be able to work inside the energy body, get the blockage, get it out. And then the healing often happens like a miracle. Sometimes it's more like physical therapy. You keep going back for layers until the problem goes away. And we know it's healed because the problem goes away and it never comes back. So that's the first part and the structural part of what I do that's different from normal energy healing modalities, which I recognize is a very funny phrase to be saying in this room. And then the second part of what makes my work different from normal energy healing modalities is where we leave the realm of what's even kind of normal, and now we're about to enter the territory of the truly weird. Show of hands. Who in this room believes in guardian angels? Good guys upstairs looking out for you. Wow, I like this room. Okay, fantastic. So you're on board. So the second part of my training that's really crucial to what I do is I get in touch with the horse's guardian angels. Good guys upstairs looking out for that horse, want that horse to live a really good life, want that horse to meet its potential, whatever that potential is. Because if the horse knew why he was cribbing, or why his leg really hurts, or why he hates that spot in the barn, he does not want to go near that spot in the barn, he would have solved this problem already because he's in pain. And if I knew the answer to those questions, I would have solved that problem by now because that horse is in pain. Somebody upstairs knows. And so what I'm trained to do is get in touch with the person upstairs who knows. And they're the ones who let me know what to do, where we need to be working in the energy body. So I'm not just crashing around some horse's energy body. There's some big guy upstairs who's actually letting us know how to do this in such a way as to actually heal the horse's problems. Thank you for the 1 minute. So that's who I am, that's what I do, and real fast, here's who I do it for. Believe it or not, the majority of my clients are thoroughbred racehorse trainers. I work a lot with horses in the early stages of their training to try and get them on the right track. I also work with horses who are actively in their racing career when we don't have a lot of time and we need to solve the problems fast because there's a race coming up and we need to get there. And I also do some work with thoroughbred broodmares and yearlings before the early stages of their sale season. And then I also work with people's companion horses. I work with some hunters, I work with some jumpers, I work with some rescue horses. But the main bulk of my client base is thoroughbred racehorse trainers. And that's the work I really love doing.
Thank you, Jamie. Questions? Debbie?
I know when a person, a human, goes through this type of healing, that the energy of everything they touch changes too.
Yes.
A healed person has a different energy that they're expelling to the people around them. So they too receive some of this healing energy. Would it be true with the horse and its rider? Would the rider experience a different energy from the horse?
Yes, that is a fantastic question. So part of the protocol that I do during every healing session, I make an audio recording of the session, and the healing energy is imprinted into the audio recording. And then at the end of the session, I give that recording to the trainer or the owner or whoever it is that's working one-on-one with the horse, and their job is to play that recording for the horse. And every time the recording plays, the energy shifts over and over again. And then what people start to find, especially when I'm working with a number of horses in one facility, is that the energy of the barn will start to change and the other horses start to improve as well. Because it's not an isolated process. When you're getting angels into a place, it's not like they'll hit the ground and say, you are the one horse I'm here to see, come with me. It doesn't really work that way. When it hits ground, it affects everybody in the space. So the short answer is yes, absolutely. And it just depends on how open the rider is, you know. If he's a kind of grumpy, close-minded person, it might not hit the same impact, but if it's someone who's willing to open up their mind for about 15 seconds and feel the actual energy coming off of the recording, their lives will start to change as well. And that's one of my favorite parts of this process, is watching everybody's life transform. And, you know, I joke about this with my clients that we come in for the horse, you know, we're focusing on fixing the horse, but everything starts to get better. I hope I answered your question.
You did.
Thank you, okay.
Ryan?
Jamie, I remember when I met you at a farm, there was a farm owner who was having, I think, bone spurs in their horse's feet, and they were able to show on an x-ray that those bone spurs disappeared after your therapy. Are you able to talk about examples like that where an x-ray has shown actual improvement?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's still my favorite story. For those of you who haven't heard me tell this story before, I have a client who I adore. She's a racehorse trainer, and she sells a lot of 2-year-olds in the 2-year-old thoroughbred sales, and she had a yearling who had 3 bone spurs in his knees, and that's a really tricky problem, and it can scare away a lot of buyers. And she called me and said, he's got bone spurs. The vets say there really isn't anything they can do that won't cause chipping, that won't cause other problems in the x-rays. I'm out of ideas. Do you want to try? And I said, yes, absolutely. And after his first healing session, the pain went away. And then after his second healing session, there was no physical sign of the bone spurs. And then after his third healing session, they were gone from the x-rays. And then he sold for $370,000 about 3 months after we started working together. So it was a very quick process. And that's still my favorite story, and bless you for bringing it up because I forgot to. But those are my favorite stories, the kinds where x-rays show it. Another one, I don't know if I've told you about this one. I had a client who had a horse whose stifle, which is kind of like a back knee, would lock up. And I had never met the horse before, and I ran into the owner of the farm, and she said, this is really bad. She's dragging her leg around. I don't know if she's going to make it. This is very concerning. And I came and saw her, and she looked really bad, and I said, listen, this is normally a 3 to 5 session protocol. I don't know if this is going to make a big difference, but let's just start today, and it won't get worse. And we did 1 healing session, and then after the healing session, not to be weird, but what the angel said to the trainer was, and now call the vet and have him come and see if he can get that leg back in place. And then the vet came that afternoon, leg popped back into place, and it hasn't locked back since. And that was last October, I think. So there were no x-rays on that one, and maybe I should have asked for x-rays beforehand just so we could all see photographic evidence, but I didn't. But she is fine now. She's still in training, as far as I know.
Joe? Question?
EMF is a real thing. You can feel it in people. When
Yes, sir.
somebody with an excessive amount of energy walks into a room, positive or negative, you can feel it.
Oh, yeah.
Even people that have suppressed that ability. When you go to a horse, you're using a tactile assessment of the horse or something. Do you use anything else like Carillion photography or anything?
That is a great question. No, and that's what makes my work different. So what most energy healers do is kind of like that, where they'll put their hands out on a
Right.
horse, and they'll kind of feel around the horse's energy body, and there's a blockage. What I'm trained to do, the merging of the electromagnetic fields, the first way that it's different is that because my energy bodies merge with the horse, it's very unlikely I'm going to do something to hurt that horse, because I don't want to hurt me. I like me. And so it's not that I'm sticking my hand into a horse's energy body, grabbing a thing and yanking it out in a kind of separated way. Because we're merged in with each other, I'm working inside the energy body. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it does, but you don't use any other.
No other technology.
Okay.
I say
All
to
right.
my clients, there are no drugs,
No, I
no needles,
understand.
no machines.
Yeah.
I'm the machine.
Oh, Jackie?
Well, first of all, I just kind of want to compliment you because your energy is so good, you know, and you sound so intelligent. And lots of people who don't believe in angels or spirits or any of those kind of things could pretty much write you off really quickly if they
Yeah.
didn't listen to you.
It
And so I'm
throws
really
people off
impressed
sometimes.
with that. Do you do any marriage counseling? That's right.
Doing marriage counseling?
No, I'm talking about the energies, you know. So
I
I'm making a
understand.
joke because I could use it. But anyhow, that it's
We
really
can talk
impressive.
afterwards.
It's impressive because I trust you. I believe that what you're saying is true. And like Jose said, anybody's energy can rub off on you. That can make it your day. It can make your life
Yeah.
and your relationship with somebody else's energy.
Yeah.
And people ignore that way too often. And I'm
Girl,
totally
I hear
surprised
you.
that that's what you're talking about. So I'm just pleased.
Yeah.
Just thank you.
People often, because I meet the majority of my clients by walking into their barns and introducing myself cold, and so they have no idea how qualified I am. I could just be some lady from their parking lot. And it often does surprise people to hear that I have multiple higher degrees. I've done a lot of study, and I do double-blind studies, and I do like postdoctoral research. And it's pretty surprising.
It's
So
wonderful.
thank you. You just made my day.
Felicia?
That's me.
Hi.
Two-parter.
Awesome.
Do you stick only with equine, or how is that different if you were to do it with, say, dogs?
Oh, that's a good question. The majority of my practice is with horses for a number of reasons, and so I skew toward the horse market. I actually do work with dogs. I work with competition dogs for the most part. I do work with companion dogs also. And I think your second part was, how is it different? Was that the second part? Well, in the structural sense, the size of the energy body is
Obviously.
different, you know, because horses have these big, giant, honking energy bodies, and so you can make these big differences reasonably fast. Whereas horses, dogs, it's more detailed work because the energy bodies are smaller, and so it's almost like you have to zoom in on a really big camera and get very precise because it's just smaller, everything is more detailed. But the concept is the same. Merge the energy bodies together, figure out what's going on in the energy body, find the guardian angel for that dog, make sure it's the guardian angel for that dog. Awesome, here's the problem. What do I do about this problem? And it's different for every horse, it's different for every dog. The root cause is always different. No 2 sessions are the same.
Good to know.
To answer your question?
Yes,
Awesome.
I'll be calling you.
Yes, I was just wondering, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
When did you first realize you had this particular talent?
That's a great question.
Was it at a young age, or obviously you had to start something at one?
You know, the funniest part about the answer to that question is I'm not actually all that talented. You know, there are people who are extremely psychically talented. They can see dead people, they can see energy bodies. Those people are very impressive to me. I have not a whole lot of gifts. I've just had a lot of training. But I guess probably the answer to the question that you're really asking is, yeah, at a reasonably young age, I was aware of it, and I also had the leg up that my mother had a 30-year career as an energy healer, and also as a teacher of advanced energy healing modalities, and so I kind of grew up with that awareness. It was never taboo in our household. Past lives were often discussed, energy shifts were often discussed. It was kind of a part of the way that I grew up, and so I was cheating the whole way through because I had that benefit. I hope I answered your question.
Back here.
So clearly you have a lot of potential clients in the area. So
Oh, you'd think so, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. So for a client who may have never heard of your work or what you do, what sort of documentation along the lines of the X-ray Ryan mentioned can you show them to say,
It's real and it works?
yeah, absolutely. Do you have
Ooh,
an academic paper? Maybe you could start that, or how do you?
You know, I think it'd be hard for me to find a journal that would take this kind of work seriously. And I'm not saying that's a terrible idea. I'm interested in that concept. Honestly, normally what I do is I hand them a reference list. And they see the names of my clients. And I have enough high-profile clients that they can feel, oh, these people can't all be totally crazy. And what I tell a lot of people is, try one session. If you don't see any difference, if you don't feel any shift, you don't ever have to call me again. And normally that's enough to either shake it loose or not. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, absolutely. And references.
References are what I go with, yeah.
References and testimonials.
And testimonials.
Phil?
Hi, big fan of Eastern medicine. A really interesting twist on that with the equine community. My question is several times you've talked about root causes of the issue. Can you give us some examples? Like, what are your most top 3 root causes of that energy blockage?
How weird am I allowed to get in this room?
Oh, weird. Get weird.
All right, so I'm gonna get a
This
little
is an
weird.
open community. It's a safe place.
Look around, there's weird people in here.
Oh, I love you guys. Okay, I'm gonna get a little bit weird. If it gets too weird, someone just flag me down. Top 3 root causes? Past life trauma. And even for people who are uncomfortable with the concept of reincarnation, when you've been through a traumatic event, like anyone here ever been in a car accident? Rock on, okay. Traumatic events affect the energy body, even after the physical body can appear to heal, even after we say, no, it's fine, I don't need to talk about it anymore. There's something in that energy body that's shaken up. And it leaves an actual energetic imprint. And so one big bulk of the work that I do, especially when it's stuff like phobias, illnesses that are not really healing, or unexpected injuries like freak accidents. People will often call me and say, I have a horse, it's a freak accident. I say, okay, yeah, let's do this. Often there's past life trauma lodged in the energy body, and it's coming up because there's something you're supposed to learn from that event of past life trauma. There's some lesson that's repeating in your life. Usually it's something super basic like, apologize to the people you hurt, have some courage, don't be so selfish, like get a grip, man. And once we figure out, all right, what's the lesson you're supposed to learn? Here's the lesson, you work on that. Now we can get that trauma and pull it out. So I think that's probably the main cause of the root causes of the problems that come against. It's just past life trauma. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay.
So that's 1.
Oh, you want me to do all three?
Two, yeah.
Well,
Okay.
give us another one.
Past life trauma. Oh, you know. All right, I'm going to get a little bit weird again. I'm just boring.
Good, it's fine.
Thank you. So there's a concept of the life path, and all the life path is the life that you're supposed to live, right? We're all here for a reason. Everybody's got a destiny. Everybody's got something they're supposed to do. And very commonly, there's just a disconnect between the energy body and the life that you're supposed to live. And so you're living a life, and you can feel something's wrong. This isn't going the way it's supposed to go, and now my leg really hurts, and I get these weird headaches. I don't understand why this doesn't feel like the life I was supposed to live. I think I'm doing everything right? And sometimes people are praying, sometimes people are asking wise men, sometimes people are asking people in their lives, and nobody's got a great answer, and it just feels wrong, and I don't know why. And sometimes it's honestly just that they're off of their life path. And what I'm trying to do is find that life path, get a hold of it. Meanwhile, the angels are there, so I'm not crashing through the woods. I don't want to get you on someone else's life path. That will cause problems that I don't want to deal with. Get that life path, get the energy body, bring it back into alignment. It's almost like a chiropractic adjustment, if you're familiar with that. Get it back into place. And then things just start to work again. And those are some of my favorites because often, and with human clients, you know, it's easier because they speak English and I speak English and we can talk back and forth. With human clients, often they'll say, you know, the session didn't really work. And I say, oh, interesting, tell me about that. And they say, well, you know, after the session, my marriage got better, and my work life really cleared up, and my car started working again, and so I don't have any problems anymore, so I don't really need you anymore. My life is fine. And I say, great, I'm so glad. Did I answer your question?
That's two.
So I have a question though. You're looking for equine. You said preferably racehorses.
Yes, sir. Thoroughbred racehorses.
Thoroughbreds. You're already in that field, and how are you finding your clients now? I mean, you said you're walking into the barn and saying, hey, here I am.
Mm-hmm.
How else have you identified how to find clients, and how might we help you to do that?
That's how you can help me do that. Because still, the majority of the clients that I find when I'm bringing new clients into my practice is still I'm driving to a barn, walking into the barn, asking who the boss is, finding the boss, shaking their hand. And often because in thoroughbred racehorses, the ownership is kind of crazy. It's hard to find who's actually going to be paying for the session, who should we actually be talking to. It's a really challenging process. And it's also hard through word of mouth because what I do is so unusual that often people feel uncomfortable sticking their necks out for it. A lot of my clients, even if they're long-standing clients who've had a lot of results, they feel uncomfortable saying to another racehorse trainer, this angel lady thing, it really works, you should try it. And so
Is that the best way to describe it? This
it's
angel
great.
lady
I have
thing.
exercise riders who call me the angel lady, and I love it. I've been called so many worse things, I say let's go. So that, I think, is really the biggest hurdle that I'm up against right now is how to get new clients into the practice. Not that I mind driving up to barns and walking in, it's just time consuming, and it's an imprecise science. So that's the answer, is I need to find a way to be able to get clients where my existing clients don't feel like they have to feel uncomfortable with providing word of mouth. I love hands.
Jessica?
Do you utilize social media like Instagram or Facebook to like maybe show some of like your
That's a good question.
Share the stories.
share the stories or
I don't really. I have a website that I've worked reasonably hard on, and the website has testimonials, and it has videos, and it has photos, and I generally push my website. I don't do Twitter really. I don't do Facebook really. I still am not entirely sure what Instagram is. But I've also found that a lot of the horse people aren't super social media savvy either. So that's the answer to your question. Is I have a website that I work very hard on, and social media not so much.
Ryan?
More of a comment than a question, but a lot of entrepreneurs deal with fear of rejection and cold calling.
Oh yeah.
And so one of the lessons I think we can all take from you is that if you can walk up to a farm, just walk into a gate and say something so out of the norm, so confidently.
It hasn't killed me yet.
That's a really, really valuable lesson, and you're very brave to do that.
Thank you. That means so much to me.
The
And
more
you know-
no's we get, the closer we are to a yes, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Question, Debbie?
Well, it's not really a question either, it's more of a suggestion. I wonder how it would be for you if, when you walked up to people, you didn't prepare them for something really weird.
Interesting.
That you just owned it, this is what I do, and this is how it
Yeah.
works. And, you know, because several times throughout this day, you expected us to like push back,
Oh, yeah.
and we really didn't.
No!
And
You're fantastic. I wish I could bring you all with me.
I think you would find a lot more people would be more open to it
Yeah.
if you didn't put that energy out there first,
Yeah.
that you're gonna push back.
Don't apologize before you do something wrong.
Right.
Yeah, I hear
Yeah.
you.
You didn't do anything wrong either.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. That's
Great.
very helpful.
Very good advice.
Comment, question?
Yeah, I know that you work a lot with energy, and being an empath myself, how do you kind of protect your own energy from anything negative rubbing off on the riders or the horses that you work with?
Meaning, how do I protect my personal energy body, or how do I protect everyone else in the barn?
Your
Kind
own
of both.
person?
Okay, mine. I'm very lucky because the energy healing modality that I study, a large part of the training is about how to manage your own energy body. And so, because my work involves the energy merge, while I'm in the session, there isn't really a disconnect or a separation between myself and the healing subject. But then after the session, part of what I do is send all their energy back to them, get all my energy back to me, working very precisely at very small levels. And there isn't a whole lot of exchange when all is said and done at the end of the session. And then, of course, I have energy healing techniques that I employ after the session to kind of get a grip and realign and strengthen the energy body. So I guess the short answer to the question is I've had a lot of training, and I work really hard at it. And it's tough to be an empath.
Question, Mike?
So you mentioned you work on your website. Are you currently blogging or telling any of your stories, on the website? So if people, you do promote your website face to face, somebody goes and checks you out.
It's a reasonable question. I do have some videos of healing sessions on my website, but I don't blog on my personal healing website. Yeah.
All right. One of the things that I found very valuable is if you can answer questions that possible trainers may have, or bring up situations that may be relevant to them, and answer that question there for them.
Like specific horse problems?
Correct.
Thank you.
Common, maybe some more common problems.
Yes,
Yeah.
and see how they can be related to what you're offering. How to
Jackie?
change the problem.
I have a question that piggybacks off her question about personal energy. And you gave 2 of your 3, we didn't get your 3rd one. But are any,
You're right, that's true.
is there anything related to, or in your studies, I'm thinking more like, say for example, somebody like me that's been a nurse. I recognize those energies, and at some times I've suddenly known when a person died that I needed to do something. I don't know what, because some people, they die peacefully, some people are sweet.
I cry a lot.
Yeah, some people are, it's a little bit scary,
Some
especially
people
if
just
you
don't
watch
wanna
their
go.
pupils when they're dying, if you happen to be looking into their eye.
Oh, yeah.
Have you done any studies on the effects that those might be some of your problems with your energy? Say, for example, a human today, that has to do with somebody else's energy, period.
Meaning the problems of being present for another person's death experience, or
Yeah.
the process of our own personal death experience?
Both, of those, what they leave, what those people leave.
What's left behind?
Yeah, what's left behind.
That might be the 3rd answer to your question.
Because that's always kind of me. I know something's left behind sometimes.
Yeah.
It's just,
And that's extremely common. And like I think we discussed with past life trauma or current life trauma, there are often soul fragments, pieces of the soul that will, when a trauma happens, basically respond like, this is too much for me. I'm going to leave the rest of the soul. I'm going to go hide somewhere until this intense problem is gone. And often these soul fragments will be left behind almost kind of like energetic litter or debris when someone goes, and they don't follow the rest of the soul up. And so, yeah, I do a fair amount of work in clearing away debris and also reuniting soul fragments with the rest of their soul, because it does nobody any good for them to be floating around lost. Let's get everybody to where they're supposed to be, and then we'll all feel better.
Jan, you had a question?
Well, it was just really to follow up on the FAQ mentioned.
Yeah.
The reason that I think it's very important to do that is that you're going to have people searching for the problem and not for you.
Yes.
And if you can delineate that in some way,
Yes.
they'll come in through the back door into your website.
That's very helpful.
Phil?
Yeah, from a marketing standpoint, have you thought about spending some of your time with the horse industry vendors? So farriers, veterinarians, other kind of contract workers that might be a little bit like a veterinarian that's open-minded to Eastern philosophy, right? I know a lot of people that they go to a Western doctor,
Yeah.
right? They also go to an acupuncturist.
Yeah.
And I just thought, if you've ever thought about possibly just going in and you know, veterinarians at times, they're gonna come up and go, I don't know what else to do for this horse.
I've had
Or
that
you.
thought also of if there were, and I've met a few reasonably open-minded veterinarians. I never really reached that topic with them of, listen, if you get a case that you just don't know what to do with, give the person my name and we'll see what I can do. So I don't think I've ever actually really had that conversation with someone, although it is something I've considered a number of times. What I don't want to do is threaten the veterinarian or make them feel like I'm coming in and I want to take your business from you, which I'm not. Yeah, so I think that I would have to be really careful about how I approach that so they don't feel threatened. That makes sense?
So I do that a lot with my competition. I meet one-on-one with them, and I find out the differentiators, like what are they good at that I'm not,
Right.
And then possibly do referrals because I want to do what's best for my client.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's me, sometimes it may be somebody that's a little bit more experienced.
Got it. So, if I can kind of roll with this, how would you suggest going about that? Just calling up veterinarians and saying, hi, my name is Jamie McGonagill, I'm an equine energy healer, and
I'd like to have coffee. Just
Yeah.
one-on-one, can I have coffee with you?
yeah,
I need help. Always,
Yeah.
it's very beneficial to go with, hey, I need help, or can I use your, you know, as a veterinarian, can I use your experience? You're well connected in the horse community. More of a I need help and you're an expert.
yeah. I'm sorry, I'm just writing this down, and I'm going to ask you more questions.
Back here?
To expand on what was saying here, you know, what I found when I'm looking to possibly partner with somebody who's in a similar field but not just quite the same niche is, you know, maybe put together a list of products or services that may work with what they're offering. So it's not competitive services. So for instance, you know, if I'm working with a company that's, you know, I do digital marketing. So if I'm working with a company that doesn't do digital marketing, but they offer a service that's related, I put together a package of services specific to their clients.
Interesting.
That may, you know, I offer a lot of different things, but I'll have just like maybe 3, 4, 5 offerings. So I'm not trying to go in and just be like, here I am. Just, you know, here's a couple of things that I've researched that I think could be beneficial for your clients as well. You know, and here's just a couple of ideas. You know, let me know what you think, and then ask questions like, hey, you know, what do you think? You know, you're asking directly. You know, what do you think your clients might be interested? You know, from my side, sort of deal that you don't offer.
That's very helpful.
Wanda?
Kind of like the same modality as pharmaceutical reps going in to see doctors' offices. They will go in and offer to bring in lunch. And during their lunch hour, you have the floor to explain what you do while they're eating and kind of say that and work at it as something that works in conjunction with what they do. What you do is not what they do. So it's not taking away from them.
Right, it's not competition.
It's like working together with them.
And so, would you recommend doing that more with the veterinarians? Because it's
Yes.
hard to track down trainers.
With the veterinarians,
Okay.
yeah, that was my
Okay.
concept with that, because they're just like any other medical provider on the human side. That's
Right.
what pharmaceutical reps and other salespeople do, to be able to get a listening ear to the doctor, is make an appointment to bring in lunch. They all have to stop for lunch. They usually close the practice for an hour. You come in. They love when you bring lunch. And then you get them to listen.
You have their attention, and
Yeah. And
they're
that's-
chewing, so they're
I
probably
think that's
not
a
sitting down.
really great opportunity for you to be able to get in and explain what you do and leave some cards, and you never know. Something may happen down the road where they just thoroughly frustrated, but they know what you do, and they say, oh, let me pull that card out of my desk. and
Right.
Give it to them.
Joe?
Just build a
Oh.
relationship.
Totally believe in what you're doing. I've got a lot of experience.
Right on, sir.
Not because of the late 60s or anything, but you're trying to sell something that's intangible.
Yes, exactly.
People are not receptive to things, for the
Right.
most part.
Right.
Have you gone to like HITS or any of the things at the horse park, got their little umbrella, not an umbrella, but you know,
A little
yeah,
set.
and done some logo. You're gonna have two people with you, somebody to stay and man the display area, while you have somebody that shows a little bit of interest. Where's your horse? Let me just go look at your horse for a minute.
Yeah.
You know, it's something you're gonna have to expose to a lot of people that are really not gonna accept this, because it is so intangible.
Yeah.
You know, you're not hitting them with a red laser, you're not using acupuncture, you're not doing chiropractic adjustments on a horse.
No, I often don't touch the horse with my hands.
And that's what people don't understand.
Exactly.
So it's something that at these larger events, if you could just go with one or two people and say, let me talk to Fluffy for a minute. And, well, I got an alligator I call Fluffy. So anyway, it's just, you know, a suggestion there. Because of what you're promoting, people have no concept of it.
Right.
Me again. I was just wondering if you attend like healing circles for people. Because I know when I encounter large circles of healing,
Yeah.
there are a lot of people that I get to know, and they're like, oh yeah, I have 8 horses, I have 10 horses, I have, you know, and I'm not
Yeah.
focused on people with horses, but they just happen to be there.
Yeah.
And these people will already be open to the
To that work,
idea
otherwise they
of
wouldn't be in
healing
that
for their
room.
horses.
What is the cost of a session?
$70.
You're good. Did you go to my website? You're good. It is. It's $70 for, and the session generally runs 40 to 45 minutes. And I don't require a groom to be there to hold the horse. I normally stand outside the stall because a lot of times the energy is intense, and the horses, if you touch them during that process, they can feel very uncomfortable. So I generally don't touch the horse. So yes, $70, 40 to 45 minutes. Sometimes it runs a little longer. Sometimes
The same for a dog?
Same for a dog. Yeah.
Same for an old rescue cat.
Same for an old rescue cat. Humans
So-
are different.
Tell
So,
us about the humans.
we have time for one last question.
Oh, no.
We've gone quite a bit longer than we normally do, since you are our early presenter, but how can we best, as a community, help you?
Well, the easiest answer I can give you, and again, thank you for all this stuff that I'm going to go home and read over later, but the easiest answer I can give you is anybody in this room happens to know a thoroughbred racehorse trainer or owner or partner or someone who is involved in that world. You can let them know that I exist, and you can say, I met her. She was pretty well spoken. She did not seem all that bonkers, and it seems like it might work. If I were you, I'd pick your 3 biggest problems, have that lady come in, work with those 3 biggest problems, and you let me know how it goes. Honestly, that's probably the biggest thing anybody in this room could do to help me, is if you know anybody who's involved in that kind of business model, just say, I met her. Seems like it might work. Give it a shot. What do you have to lose? It's $70.
Awesome.